Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Wednesday night matchday preview show. I am, of course, your host, The Gov, and I'm looking forward to getting into what is really going to be a jam-packed, busy Wednesday night show. Don't forget, this is the platform for fans, by fans. We give you the power to have your say. We don't do a Q&A. We say, come on and have your say. I'm looking forward to it. As I say, we've got Colchester United fallout. We have got Richard Keogh signing this morning. What do you make of that one? We, of course, have got MK Dons on the horizon. We have got Colin, our MK Dons fan, joining us live to give us the lowdown on what a football club that we expected to be there or thereabouts. Obviously, still only early days, but currently have got 0 points flying around. We have got the ticket draw. We have got the shirt draw. We have got more draws than Debenhams. And yeah, let's just get cracking into it. Lots of comments in the live chat. We'll have a live link for you as well. And we have got fairly new contributor this evening, obviously making only I think it's his second regular appearance. Don't forget, you can become a YouTube member by clicking the link, or you can or support us through Ko-Fi. The Discord server, which we have put together as a perk of being a YouTube or Ko-Fi supporter, has been absolutely bouncing, and I mean bouncing. The last couple of hours, you log in and you get lost, literally lost, and then you log back out and you log back in, and you get lost again. It's such a fast moving body. If you are a YouTube member or a Ko-Fi member that hasn't had the link yet, please do email us homedressroom89@gmail.com. Alternatively, become a YouTube member or a Ko-Fi supporter tonight, and we can give you the Discord server and you can get involved with it. We also have a prediction league coming up. We'll come to that in just a memento. But first of all, let's bring in our contributor for this evening. On the back, hasn't got an intro yet, so let's get our partnership out of the way. Let's get that done. Go contact Ipswich Buses, and then he'll be here on the back. Ipswich Buses, your local bus company. Don't get stuck in traffic. Ditch the car. Go green. Go contactless. Go Ipswich Buses. Fares available from £2.20 return, a fantastic price, and a fantastic service. Ipswich Buses, proud to partner with Talking Town. Mark, my man, how are you?
Good evening. Good afternoon, everybody. Or good evening.
We are in. We are ready. We are probably more ready than they were last night. Let's be brutally honest.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was like the same. Was on another night we could have scored 4 or 5, but it was unfortunately the familiar story of Ipswich and cup shocks.
Well, yeah. This is it, mate. So there's no better place than to start with that last night. 10 changes. I'm never a fan of mass change. I've been saying that for the last couple of shows. I've never seen a player play well, Mark, when you make mass changes in that manner.
Yeah, I was sort of disappointed they changed it all. I knew they were probably going to, because the League Cup isn't top of the priority. But I thought they would have mixed it up a bit and given fellas who haven't got a few minutes a game, all right. But I thought they maybe, I'm not a fan of wholesale changes, And probably worst case scenario is that team will probably represent us next season in League One if we don't get a rec together this year, because everyone else we have in the first team will be sold on. So that's a bit of a worry.
It is a bit of a worry, but it's really sad who stood out for you. Obviously, nobody did, but 10 changes. Mike D's obsessed with the Discord, by the way. He's obsessed with it. Love a bit of it, Mike. Well done. That's what happens to you when you become a YouTube member. Philip Blundell, McKenna has no interest in cups this term. But he didn't say that, did he, Mark? He followed the Ipswich Town managerial guide of PR promotion for the cups by saying it was rather important. David on last night's match reaction show didn't seem to sort of go along with that, because he felt if you play the second team, we should have played second team prices.
Yeah, I would have thought that coming in, like 10,000 people turned up, didn't they, to a League Cup? I think he gave the impression that we would try to when compete, at least put a bit of a team out. Well, I'd probably try to compete is the answer. A few players just proved last night they might have to even be moved on at this stage. There's a few that just look as if it doesn't matter how many times they're given a chance. They just aren't going to cut the mustard. And you have to ask yourself, how many times are you going to give these fellas a chance? I'm sure they're all equally lovely guys off the pitch and all that stuff, but that's not what they're here for. They're here to get us promoted. They're here to become stars. They're here to entertain. And a lot of these lads,
they are.
Unfortunately, you can't do it. Again, it's a familiar story.
No. Yeah, many of them can't do it. I was going to drop the link in the chat. As I say, this is the platform that gives you the chance to have your say in your own words, unfiltered. Nobody will speak for you here. Leanna says, league priority, end of. We can't afford injury to key players. And that's a really key point, actually. And I'm really pleased you've raised it in our group chat because, Mark, that is what many fans up and down Suffolk, up and down the country, obviously the fans that are in Ireland, the league is the priority. That's where we've got to focus. But haven't we done that in the last 12 years, Mark? Haven't we done that in the last decade?
No. Unfortunately, we haven't. I think if you play a bit more, it's all about consistency. And if the lads played, again, not everyone, but you could have dropped Morrissey, say, and brought in Humphreys or changed the defence around a little bit. Not wholesale changes in the game. Maybe a few lads who aren't in the starting 11 need a bit more reassurance that they could be. There's a few of them who will never play for us again. Not again, but if let's put it this way, if Morrissey was injured, do you honestly think that Humphreys was going to come in instead of him? He might, when he was the best out of the two of them last night. But he missed a few chances, as did Morrissey. But he will score because the same way as Morrissey came back and scored a cracker at the weekend. So I'm not too worried about Humphreys. I'll be more worried about his partner in crime last night. Just proved again.
Yeah, and we will come to him. Nick Styling, new YouTube member. Thank you very much, Nick. We really, really appreciate that. Thank you, brother. Welcome home. Welcome to the family of Talking Town. Yeah, if Morrissey gets injured, we perhaps do have an issue. Before we come to individual players, and Raheem the Nightmare, as I'm going to have to call him today, will obviously have to be mentioned. Craig says, this term, we haven't had an interest in a cup for years. I've seen 2 cup games in the last 5 years with the club. Ain't bothered. Why should I be? It's an absolute fair point. 11,000 people last night. 11,000 people showing a lot more interest than the club have done over the previous years. Lee says, stop looking back. The club has changed throughout. The only thing that remains is the same as it's okay, that's a good point. Mark, what do you say to Lee there? Stop looking back. The club has changed throughout. The only thing that remains the same is the fans.
If that was the case, they would have put on a show last night and beaten the League Two team. So in a lot of stages, it's still very much the same, still very familiar. Now, I'm not saying that we should have went to try to win, but I prefer to try to win that match than any of the games in the Pizza Cup. That's the biggest loads of waste of entertainment for fans and players alike. I know you have to get minutes, but I just again, I know we're not interested in the cups. The main thing this year is automatic promotion, 150 million%. But it would have been nice just to give fellas just different, maybe a run out last night. Fellas who need a hug. Fellas who maybe feel they're not part of the squad.
I mean, some players. Some players needed the minutes. Like you say about Raheem, Adam Humphreys needed the minutes. It took me 8 minutes to drop the clanger. It took Raheem Harper a bit longer last night to drop a clanger, but he dropped it all the same. But I was just going to say, Nick, our new YouTube member, if you go to your community tab on YouTube, you'll find a link to the Discord, brother. Welcome in. We've got Louis waiting. We've got Reggie. Oh, the legend that is Reggie, Big Bad Reggie, coming on in. Let's have his say. He's new at the Sir Ralph statue this year, Mark. He's been a really nice addition so far, is old Reggie. When are you coming back to the Sir Ralph statue?
I'd like to meet him over.
When are you coming over?
Hopefully September. I was looking to even come to the Plymouth game that's been changed to the Sunday, but it's I'm sure it's impossible to get to Plymouth from Dublin. It's not impossible, but it's as expensive,
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's just show some stats from. Let's show some stats from last night. Just put some meat on the bone for perhaps those that weren't there. There are your stats, as you can see on the screen. 79% possession to 21, 19 shots to 2, 7 to 1. The only shot they had on target. This literally is a Football Manager meme, Mark. Literally, if you play Football Manager, I don't know if you do, but there is a meme and it's called "I've just been football managered." And what it means is you literally dominate a football club. You dominate the 90 minutes and they walk away with a 1-0 win. This is as close to that as you're ever going to get. If this was a game, Mark, you'd say, I ain't playing that no more. It's not realistic. Mark, you there?
It's strange. It's strange. We'd all the possession. We'd all everything. We just didn't put the ball in the back of the net. But once again, it's become a bloody recurring story. You hear people saying that we're not making the chances. But you can't. I mean, you made chances galore last night, and they still couldn't score. And I only heard it on the radio. I wasn't there. I'll put my hand up for that. But how many times did you hear, missed chance by Caden Jackson. Oh, he hit the bar. He hit nothing. His name wasn't even mentioned for most of the game.
No.
So
I
think it's time to give up on him. I really do.
Well, you say that. We've had 19 shots, 7 on target. But yeah, I can't honestly remember a clear-cut opportunity for him. I'll bring Mr. Nunn in. George, with his uplights in the background. There he is. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. I'm bloody hot. It's bloody hot in here.
Is it? Your sauna?
Bought in at the last second, so I haven't had a chance to air it out and let some cool air into my shit.
Nunny's in the sauna, ladies and gentlemen. He's in the Speedos. Office attire up the top, party attire down below. Or is that just me?
You're assuming there's any attire down below.
I've already played the partnership video. I can't compose myself again. Matt Stannard, Gov, bar the possession. I'm sure that's right. Exactly the same story against Bolton. Darren said I brought the debate up in the summer regarding the panic button. I said 10 games, already some fans fuming about player stats cup. Surely the only problem we have is a main striker. George, though you saw those stats on the screen, as I said, if that was a football game, a computer game, you'd say, I'm not playing that again. It's bloody unrealistic. We've dominated the game. They've had one shot and won 1-0. Is it a case of just one of those nights just one of those nights? Or is it a Newport 2.0? Where are you on it as a football fan? It's been many roller coaster emotions over the last 24.
Yeah, haven't we just? No, I wasn't there. Like Mark says, I wasn't there. I was listening. It did sound like one of those. It was just going to be one of those nights. But haven't we just had too many of those over the last 20 years? It's absolutely
far too many.
Ridiculous. For me, I mean, it's easy to say striker, but it's goals that we lack, isn't it? Whether they come from the sensible places for that to come from a striker, and I think a reliable source of goals is something that we've been missing since Daryl Murphy. And that was only one season. So, it was just one of those nights, but we've had too many of them. I could do without them. I think I've seen this kind of buzzing around on the Discord channel just to plug it for you. But one of the things I said to a friend last night after the game was what bugs me most. And again, I wasn't there, but what bugs me most is that the urgency doesn't come until it's too late. And I know we were on top yesterday, but it just I wasn't getting a sense of urgency to score or that intensity that McKenna's talked about and we've talked about before on Mondays is and it happened against Bolton as well. We just didn't come out of the traps the way that I thought we were being set up to. And it just felt like that again last night. It was a bit like, we'll pass it around. Yes, we're getting more chances than normal, maybe because it's against Colchester. We'll put one away eventually, but we didn't put one away eventually. And I want to see us come out of the blocks, really get into a team, beat them in the first 20 minutes, and then play at that intensity where we can pass it around and play through teams and not score any more if we don't need to score more. But we're almost cruising before we're in a position to cruise, and that's just arrogance, really. I don't know why.
I totally agree with you, George. I absolutely clad iron 100% agree with you. McKenna at the weekend, Nunny said we need to be more clinical in front of goal. But it's not just clinical in front of goal. Newsflash, every team in the country wants to be more clinical in front of goal. How are you going to become more clinical in front of goal? For me, we look at Caden, and I was speaking to my grandma this afternoon, and she was having a right go about Caden Jackson, as she likes to do on a Wednesday night. And I said, but this is the second striker, Nunny, in 2-3 games where we can sit and say he hasn't had the opportunities. Freddie Ladapo hasn't yet really had that many opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net. that's when it starts to become more of is it a system issue? Are we not creating enough chances? And that's by our intensity, the way we move the football, the two-touch, the pass, the move, draw them out, move into the space, be quick with the ball. Or is it a player issue? For me, you're right. The intensity last night was non-existent. It was just training possession. It was keep the ball, have 100 passes, score 1 goal. Training mentality.
Yeah. I wasn't there, so I don't know, but that's what it sounded like, and that's more of what I thought the opening, until they had their penalty against Bolton. Really, that's all I can compare it to, because that's what I've seen and highlights from the other games. But I think that there's something about, I think that's a really good way of putting it. They're getting really good at playing training ground football, which is great, because you often play really good football when there's not an intense team to play against, right? But there's a cutting edge which comes from competitive football that it feels like we're lacking. And in previous years, I probably would have put that down to desire of players in terms of questioning whether they actually wanted to either be at the club or whether they were fussed about winning or whatever else. But what we're told is that these guys are the guys that are being cherry-picked to sign a piece of paper that they are going to run towards adversity, and that they want to win every game of football from number 1 to number 44 in terms of the squad, or however many are in the squad, and where the numbers go down to now. But that's not what I'm seeing. I didn't see or didn't hear a group of players who were fighting to get into the first team to play against MK Dons on Saturday. I didn't even hear a group of players who have been told, in all likelihood, this is your best chance to play regular-ish football this season, so make sure we stay in this competition.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously the league is the bread and butter, Mark, as people have said in the chat. Cruncher says 4 from 2, 3 more than this time last season. Just saying. But I said in the group Discord this morning, we never allow the train that's called Ipswich Town Football Club to gather momentum. Every time you seem to hit that downward, we're going downhill. We've got 4 points from 6. We've got a good point against Bolton. We've beaten Forest Green. There's that hoodoo off our back. You beat Colchester. You go into a game against MK Dons full of momentum, downhill, running away. That train's really starting to pick up speed. And every single time we hit the buffers, every single time someone applies the brake, and it feels like we're almost starting again against MK, where you've got to regain the momentum to get the train moving again. That's what it feels like to me, Mark.
It feels like a bit of deja every time they play. Yes, we should have scored more. In the league, it's different. I'll be happy with the way it's gone in the league so far. Last night was probably one of those nights. We should have scored some more. But in many interviews that we heard Kieran McKenna saying that we should have scored some more. I'd like to think in the training sessions that be driven into them what they know exactly. And they've tried it a million times. It just doesn't seem to be coming off on the training pitch. But he's been saying that well into last season as well. We have to score goals. We have to score goals. We need a striker, clearly. But I do believe once the players get off the mark, they'll be fine. I do believe that. But we just need to... Maybe needed to go in after Arsenal,
Yeah, coming back to your point, Martin, I think for me, we've still got an opportunity to sell it to the previous, the players from last week who won at Forest Green to maintain that momentum, because there were so many changes. I agree, as a club, we could do with that momentum and that winning mentality. But right now, as a coach, you'd be trying to play on the momentum from last weekend in the league rather than game-on-game momentum. And that's just, what you do, right? Because you've got to try and get their heads up somehow. But we haven't lost it yet. Lose on, heaven forbid, lose or put in a shoddy performance on Saturday, and not by any stretch of the imagination the end of the world, but we're not going to get that momentum that you talk about unless and until we start seeing consistently good and positive in terms of results, performances. And we're a million miles away from being able to say that that's not happening yet. But yeah, it would have been nice to turn over Colchester last night.
It would have been, and the stats suggest we should have done, but we didn't. We're going to get a couple of people coming on have their say in just a moment. Cruncher says 10 championship teams went out last night. Teams changing 11 players. No one really gives about this competition. Which is absolutely fine, George. But then I just wish the club
we didn't play a championship team. We played a league team.
Well, that is equally true. I just wish the club would be. just embrace it, right? Embrace what you know about this cup of competition, and maybe make the first. If you're at home like last night, like the year before, make it a family night. Family of 4 in for a tenner. Open the van zone full of inflatables, really family friendly, and just call it, Family Fun Fest, and have it as a real as the designated family fun, because it's summer holidays. It's
summer holidays. Give tickets away to absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. I think that at least would have potentially picked up the atmosphere, and maybe that would have picked up the players, and you might have seen something slightly different from them.
But they don't. They sell it as a cup competition. They're desperate to go through.
We're taking super seriously. Yeah, 100%.
And that's what David, I think, on last night's match. It was not cheap last night, Crunchy. It cost my 72-year-old grandmother 25 quid for her and my cousin. That's in a cost of living crisis. I don't care what. I will challenge that to the day I die. That's for me is not cheap. That's not as cheap as it possibly can be. Many different things in play, I understand, of course. Adi heard that Kieran McKenna say we now have 2 players in the position. If that is the case, Jason says Family Fun Fest, and watch out, Cole, you fans. Well, they were not. That was interesting. We'll bring Reggie in. Reggie, how did you see it last night?
Bloody awful.
Bring the tone up, Reg. You gotta love
the only thing that could have made that worse if you just hung up.
No, I went to the game last night, and I paid £15 for my seat, and I'm not doing that again this season, even if we get somebody good in the FA Cup. Simple as. That was horrendous. It's clearly a thing that McKenna has no interest in the Cups this season. Be interested to see what we do in the FA Cup. I'm not interested. There is one player that I picked out last night that I felt shouldn't have been in the starting 11. That was Cameron Humphreys. I just felt that every time he got on the ball, he just looked out of his depth. So his first touch, whenever he seemed to be in possession of the ball, just went beyond him. And I think the first or second chance that he had last night, he should have buried it. So he had 2 or 3, I would say at least one good chance that he could have scored from, especially in the first half, and he blazed it over the bar.
2 good chances. And I've had this conversation, Nunny, Reggie, Mark, sort of all day, because, obviously, Rakeem the Dream, I will live with that prediction to the day I die, and I will own that prediction to the day I die. He, for the first 20, I'll say it, he looked like Prime Perlo. He was pinging passes around like he owned the place. Then, of course, the 5-yard pass, the easy pass, he thought himself was rather easy and gave it away and scored the goal. That's where the mentality, the maturity that McKenna was talking about on Friday comes into play. You need to be a little bit more on it. And McKenna will know that, and they'll teach that with him. But Humphreys has 2 glorious chances, Nunny. Blazes them over the bar, open goals. Both result in the same thing, and that's getting beat 1-0.
Yeah, but mistakes happen, and his role is not to score all of our goals, is it? It would have been great for him to get that monkey off his back and score a goal, and it's unfortunately missed both of them. Sorry, but I think it wasn't Humphreys that lost the game for us last night. That's not fair.
And it wasn't.
And it wasn't Harper either. He'll know that he made a mistake, and that's the point of making 10 changes and putting some of your youngsters in. You're prepared for them to make mistakes, and you just hope that they learn something from it, and I'm sure they absolutely will. But it's just a accumulation of things that meant that we didn't manage to turn Colchester over last night. But it ultimately is a shame.
Yeah, I'll just drop you out as you've requested there, Nunny. I didn't see that until I asked.
Right, no, you're right.
I apologise. Reggie, you've mentioned Humphreys is, a little bit out of his depth last night.
Earlier about Humphreys, he will score. I think he missed a few chances, but as only last week people were criticising Morrissey for missing his sitter, and he scored a cracker a couple of days later, So his time will come, Humphreys. He's only a young lad, give him a chance. He really is he's the baby of the team. So he should be delighted to be moved in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think his time will come, definitely.
I thought the Colchester left back, Reggie, for a debut was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, from where I was sitting, I'm say the ball kept coming to Edwards down the right hand side, and because Colchester was sitting back so deep, say the left back was just lapping up him, and say Edwards just running at him, and say he just couldn't get past him, and when he tried to, the ball either went out for a goal kick or lost possession of the ball. The left back looks pretty useful last night.
He did for a debut. He looked rather phenomenal. He played at Malden and Tiptree last season, says Cruncher. He dealt with Carl Edwards every which way. There was no trick in the book that Carl Edwards could do that sort of released him. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. 25 minutes into the show. Richard Keogh signed today. We have got a Richard Keogh show live on the platform if you want to go and check that out. But we'll gather some thoughts on it quickly, I guess. What are your thoughts on it, first of all? Nunny, I brought you back in. Richard Keogh signing on an undisclosed fee on a year's deal.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good move. I think I said to you yesterday, I think I said on Twitter, I can't remember who it was in response to, might have been Harrison Yates, but I think it's probably relatively forward thinking, much as that sounds for a 35-year-old to sign. But I think he's, as McKenna said, I think we've been missing a kind of seasoned head in the centre of defence, pretty much since Chambers left. It's a long time since we've had a real seasoned pro at centre half. I think he said that our oldest centre back at the moment was 26 or 27, which is pretty young, really. Yeah. And getting someone in, not just from a playing perspective, but from a coaching perspective as well, because with respect to the guys that we've got in, I don't think any of them are ex-defenders, let alone central defenders.
No, you've got two goalkeepers, Martin Perp.
So if he's not been brought in to with a half an eye on a future coaching position, I would be surprised. I don't expect him to get loads of game time. If he gets game time, then that's great. I think, he was playing for Blackpool a couple of months ago, so it's not like his legs have gone, which is good news considering the severity of his knee issue. But, I think I've got no issue with it at all. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination, he's the most important signing that we're looking for or hoping to get in before the window closes. But I have no problem at all with Keogh signing. I think it's a pretty positive move all in.
Speaking of which, LG asks, has anybody heard about Hurst being a done deal? LG, I've left my ITK phone in the other room, mate. So if it's ringing, I'm not going to know about it. So when I know, we'll do a live show on it. Hopefully, not tomorrow. I'm busy tomorrow evening. Don't sign him tomorrow, Mark. Please don't. I've got a life. Reggie, Richard Keogh. Who does he replace? Does he replace anybody? Mike D is asking in the chat. Fantastic question. Where does Keogh play and who does he replace?
So we don't know yet where he's going to play. I've got half an eye on him starting up front, maybe alongside Hartness or on Saturday. He would be an absolute threat from set pieces. We have been better from corner kicks already in the first 2 or 3 games, I've noticed. But I wouldn't be surprised if he starts maybe up front, or maybe just comes on for the last 10 minutes.
I don't think he'll play up front. I like the out-of-the-box thinking, the blue sky out-of-the-box thinking, to nick a few David Brent isms. But I can't imagine him, Mark, being Ian Marshall, being, up 1 minute he's playing centre half, the next minute he's up the top scoring hat trick.
I do think they're fantastic signing for the team. I really do. His experience, wealth of knowledge. He knows where his head is. The left are to the back.
Oh, we've lost him. His signal's gone. Come back to us, Mark. I'm glad you turned up, Nanny. Otherwise, it would have been me playing tiddlywinks on my own. Once he gets in, lads, where can we see it? Sort of, for me, I've got him pictured in the middle of the defence, marshalling, talking, leading, positionally, looking after everything. And then, I'm sorry, I'm going to upset people, but I'm going to stay true to what I've been saying all over the summer, that the back three wouldn't be the back three that starts the year, that finishes the year. Janoy Danasi and George, for me, he steps out of the team. Luke Wolfenden goes to that right-sided role, and you get a more progressive back three on the ball. And I know people don't like necessarily progressiveness from centre halves, because it can go wrong. Just see George Edmondson 2 or 3 times last year. But Luke Wolfenden can play as a wing back. He can play as a full back. He's played as a full back at bloody Selhurst Park in the cup, for crying out loud, as a kid. It's not that much of a difficult thing for him to do. Where do you see Keogh? Perhaps he doesn't play.
Well, I think if he fits in the way he fits in, you're right, in the centre of defence. I think the thing that he won't do is the thing that we talked about last Monday, Wolfie and Edmondson doing, which is overplaying it slightly. And when they both play together, terrifies me just a little bit, because they both have a tendency to try and overplay it. And I think that's something that you probably won't see from Richard Keogh. In terms of who he replaces, I think Danassian's all of them are a tough call, right? Like Danassian particularly, because he's just got such a good rapport with Burns and increasingly with Chaplin. And I'm not saying that rapport couldn't happen between Wolfie and either of those two, but there's something about the play between Danassian and Burns in particular that just looks very natural. And I think that's something that will be really difficult to replace, unless again it's equally natural with Wolfie. So I think if as and when he plays, he will play centrally, and he will be pretty no nonsense. I don't think he won't be afraid of passing it out, but I don't think he'll necessarily try and run it out every time he gets the ball, which is, I think, something that Wolfie and Edmondson try and do, maybe a tiny fraction more than I'd like them to. But I'd struggle to name one of the three to sit out at the moment. I think that's pretty tough.
We have got 125 people watching us on YouTube alone at the moment. Please hit that like button. Just do one thing. Just hit the like button for us. It really does help the platform out. Reggie, I don't like getting the tactics book out too often. I don't like putting myself out there, but I have managed before, and I do know what I'm talking about. But when it comes to your back three, particularly when you're a dominant team on the ball, you want your 2 centre halves either side, your right centre back, your left centre back, to really play in the opposition's half, over the halfway line, that allows your winger, Burns in this case, to go and play as a right centre forward and really push on and ping their full back back. Wolfenden is very comfortable on the ball. Edmondson has his moments. Is Danassian as comfortable? Is it unfair to signal him out? Maybe Edmondson is the man that's going to be missing out, because he has made a couple of mistakes. Maybe
I personally think last season, for me, there were times when, when Edmondson was like the main key central defender for us last season. I don't know why, but when we lost possession of the ball and let the other team in, I just felt that there were holes in the central of that defence last season with him. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Edmondson that gave way in some of the games, but for now, the back three as it is, I wouldn't start messing around with it just yet.
No, that's fair, and obviously Richard Keogh will have to earn his way into the team. Reggie, we appreciate you. We're going to bring Louis in now. See what Louis is going to say about life as a Town fan. Look after this. I'll see you at Surreal statue on Saturday.
Yes.
Good man. Love Reggie. Louis.
Right.
He's got a chair. He's in a different room. You've moved.
That's the same room.
Wow. Okay, cool. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you guys?
Well, we're talking it through. That's what we do on this channel as Town fans. We talk it through. One day we'll talk about the good times. But for now, we've covered Colchester, unless you want to go back. But I would ask you.
My lowest point last night.
I would ask you not to. It's that therapy session has ended now. But Richard Keogh, just before we move on to MK Dons on Saturday, rather, what are your feelings on Richard Keogh?
I just see him as experienced cover, really. I think he's gonna be that sort of guy, isn't he? That's gonna be a bit, not really. He's not obviously sometimes a player, but he'll be like a bit of a coach on the training ground as well, sort of giving that experience that they need, and probably maybe he'll show them. Maybe they'll brush up some of the mistakes some of them are making, like Edmondson and Wolfenden are. And if he was, I guess, to come in, he will probably go in the central defence, but I don't know who would get dropped though, because you could make arguments for all three of them making way, but I just don't see him getting dropped at the moment.
Well, no. Well, many people are the same as you, Lou. And we said on this morning's show about you can't really review this transfer, George, until the window is shut, because right now you can very easily, as a fan, absolutely lose your baggage because you've just signed a 35-year-old, 36 tomorrow. Happy birthday, by the way, Richard. Defender for an undisclosed fee. I don't care if it's 1,000, 10,000, or $1 million. It's undisclosed. You paid a bit of money for him, so we're led to believe. But we haven't got a striker. You haven't got a Bersancelina type. If you feel as a fan you need that, so it's very easy to lose that baggage as a fan and go, "Oh my god!" But the window's not shut yet. So it's one of those transfers where you can't quite sort of review it until it's all done and dusted, is it?
Yeah, of course. You can't assume that Mark Ashton turns his focus, or whoever turns their focus to one player, makes an inquiry, and then sits back and waits for the phone to ring. And doesn't move on to another player until that player is signed or not signed, and they move on. There'll be all sorts of things going on in the background, and we can't judge the window until the window's shut. Like I say, Keogh wouldn't have been next on my list in terms of importance of players to get in, but I think somebody in that role was important to get in during the window. So if now was the time to make it happen, and we could make it happen, then great. If we have to wait a little bit longer for the striker, whoever it might be, then as long as it's the right person, then also great as far as I'm concerned. We'll find out in a couple of weeks whenever the window shuts. I'm not actually sure when it shuts. When does it shut?
I haven't got a clue, mate. I don't even know what day it is, to be honest with you. It's I'd imagine at the end of August.
We haven't kept the clean sheet in a long time either.
No,
We haven't kept
but
the
then
clean sheet either. Maybe
important?
that's why they got in someone like that.
But is that important, Mark? Joe Raw didn't keep a clean sheet.
If we don't score goals, we have to keep a clean sheet somewhere to get these points to get us promoted.
That is true. September the 1st. Thank you very much, Craig. Craig at Portsmouth, September the 1st, August the 30th. So 2 different dates in the chat. You love to see it. You love to see it, sports fans. You absolutely love to see it. August the 30th. Maybe the 31st, the day in between, is the correct answer. I don't know. Maybe we'll go in the middle. We'll hedge our bets. August 31st. Who knows? Louis, before I let you go, are you at the game Saturday?
Sorry, was that?
Are you at the game Saturday?
Oh, yeah. I'll be at the game, yeah. Of course.
Good man. Come by and see us, and hopefully we'll be discussing 3 points against MK Dons.
I think we will, yeah.
Good man. All right, look after yourself, Louis. All the best. We've got an MK Dons fan joining us to give us the lowdown before we go into our teams for Saturday and our score predictions. Before we bring in the man who has called himself the boss. So when he logged in, I thought it was my wife logging in, and I thought I was in trouble because the webcam wasn't on. And I just saw the boss at the bottom, and I thought, oh, flip, what have I done? Christ, she's going to come and chew me out live on the internet. But then it turns out it wasn't. Anything else before we move on about Richard Keogh or about Colchester or a striker? Is there anything else, George?
No, I don't think so. Not about either of those 2 things. I think we've probably done Colchester to death. And I'm pleased with the Keogh business, but I'd be very surprised if it's the most important bit of business we do this summer.
I'd be disappointed. Mark, anything from yourself?
Yeah, sorry, I broke up there when I was saying about Richard Keogh. I think he's a good player, experience. He knows where Rosette is. He'd be brought in to help the lads at the back. Like, he captained Ireland a few times, so I know he's good. He played with Shea Duffy at the Euros and kept a clean sheet against the Italians, unlike Harry Maguire, etc. But I think he'll be doing all right.
You couldn't resist that little dig. Love it. Absolutely. Love it. Right. Lost George. We'll go ahead and bring Colin in. Colin, how are you, my man?
Yeah, great. Thanks for calling me back on.
Well, we always get the big guests on Talking Town, and you're the biggest MK Dons fan we know. My first question to you. Sorry, AFC Wimbledon.
There we are. I'm back again. Back in the room.
Don't turn the webcam off. I'll get palpitations again, thinking the wife's logged in. Listen, my first question to you, Colin, is where do you get your sort of radio content from? Because I'm going through a little journey this year where I'm trying to find the local BBC phone-ins so I can hear what the fans are saying about their football club. I can't find one for MK Dons. Have you got one?
Three Counties Radio.
Is it a particular night? Is it?
They broadcast the game live. They do the after-match chat where fans can phone in, leave comments, and all the rest of it. But regarding like nightly shows or anything like that, nothing, mate, nothing at all. They have got MKFM, which is a club-owned radio station, and a couple of the supporters do a quick phone in after the game as well. But largely, it's podcasts such as yourself. We do one. Oh, there we go. Gone again. We do MKDSA Match Day Live. There's Sit Down and We'll Steal Your Club. There's quite a few podcasts running around. I know I'm going to get slated because I've forgotten a couple, but MK1 podcast. There's some good lads. MK always on my mind. I've remembered it now.
MK always on your mind.
MK are tin pot everywhere you go. I don't care. We don't care. We love being hated.
Well, you're not liked. I wouldn't say hated. A bit of a strong word.
Well, we love it. We love it. Bring it on. The more hate, the better.
Yeah. Well,
we feed off your anger.
Yeah, you're like you're like an anti-Millwall because nobody likes you, but you also play some rather nice football. So it's quite I quite admire you, but I also feel quite dirty for admiring you.
Yeah, we've got a philosophy, if you like. It was started off by Russell Martin. Some of you might or might not know that.
Never heard of him.
Fans, very funny.
Never heard of him. Never heard of Russell Martin. Never heard of him.
Russell Martin, he's ex-Norwich, I think. Is that right? He started off, and I'm afraid he buggered off on the at half time against Bournemouth last season in the first game. So we've got Liam Manning now, and he's sort of adapted the Russell Martin philosophy on football. And we've got a guy you may not have heard of, Liam Sweeting. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah, I've heard of Liam Sweeting. Yeah.
Liam Sweeting is, we call him the Lord Liam Sweeting because, he knows exactly what we need, apparently. So I called it the song.
There you go.
And our recruitment policy is basically get them in young and cheap and bring them on, sell them on for a good profit and move on to the next. And I'm afraid we're in that sort of interim period at the moment, a little bit like you were last year. I think you signed on about 19 players. I think we're on about 14 or 15.
Wow.
And at the moment, we got rid of, some of them were like Harry Dowling to Swansea, Matt O'Reilly went up to Celtic, Scott Twine, obviously, he's gone as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I would say we've probably taken in the region of about 8.5 million coming back our way. And then we've got the add-ons, of course, from players that we've sold previously. Reece Headey went over to Toulouse a couple of seasons before that, and he's been doing very well out in Toulouse. Financially, obviously everything's undisclosed these days, which I absolutely detest.
Likewise.
But I think pretty much we're probably heading in the right direction. This game, I think it's probably come too early for us. We played Sheffield Wednesday last week, and I'd have said the same there. Although we did give Sheffield Wednesday the runaround. I noticed they're winning 2-0 tonight, but against Sunderland. But they absolutely battered us for 15 minutes, and it was like men versus boys. And then we sort of took over the game. We just couldn't score. Stockdale in goal, who's been a nemesis for us for God knows how long. As we found out in the playoffs last season, you didn't get in the playoffs, did you?
No. We decided to sit this one out again.
So we're heading in the right direction. I just think it's come probably a game of this nature, and indeed last week has probably come a little bit too much. I know I'm waffling on a bit, but I think expectations from last year that would we kick on? Sorry, I just read that from Rob. Would we kick on or not? And I think a lot of us thought we would. And we looked at Cambridge United and we thought this is an ideal game to
Great
sort
start.
of get 3 points, and really sort of get a little bit of momentum going. And I'm afraid, they played. Well, I wasn't there. I was in Las Vegas, but I've seen the match back, and largely we played like strangers. We didn't play our style. As you know, we're a passing possession team from years back. You remember last season. And I'm afraid we didn't look anything like that. We did a little bit better last night against Sutton, but, it's job to tell. Teams changed. So, for the Carabao Cup, we didn't play the full, our full Saturday complement, should I say. So,
how is the mood in the camp after losing Twine and Darling? Because you, as you say, you often get them young, sell them on. It's a plug and play replacement system at MK, but it takes one window to be not as good, and you fall behind. How is the camp now at the moment?
Well, shall we say it wasn't a surprise? I think we'd have been very naive to believe that we were going to go through another window and people weren't going to come in for the likes of Twine, Darling. Obviously, we lost O'Reilly in January. We'd all accepted it long before the season was over. The only way we thought we'd probably hang on to Twine and Darling was if we went up through the playoffs. And I'm afraid as soon as that one left town, we all knew, and it was just a matter of time. It wasn't a case of if it was when. So we got a new, but with as fans, it took a little bit of doing, but we've bought into this philosophy, if you like, and but as I said to Liam Sweeting the other day, you're only as good as last season. So, the proof's in the pudding, this year. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So you've started the season with 2 1-0 defeats to Cambridge and Sheffield Wednesday. You say it's come a little bit too early. Why is it coming a little bit too early, do you think, for yourselves?
I just think they're still. Remind me, I want to talk about Richard Keogh in a minute because we had him.
Yes,
I want to talk about that in a minute. They're still playing like to a degree strangers. We haven't built up the little partnerships around the pitch. Obviously, we've lost Harry Darling, so we've got Jack Tucker now's come in. He's trying to form a little bit of a relation. They look a little bit similar, actually, Tucker and Darling, strangely. And they're still trying to build up the relationships. So, it's... And we've had we've got 2 or 3 lads in from the League of Ireland. We got Dawson Devoy, who was in the League of Ireland Team of the Year. I mean, the first game he's played was last night, not because he was injured, just because the League of Ireland was basically halfway through the programme, and that's what they're saying. I mean, you take everything the club tells you on face value. I mean, it just seemed a little bit funny to me, but I mean, a lot of people have got high hopes for Dawson Devoy, and he played very well last night, but it's hard to judge. Like I said, Carabao Cup, difficult.
Do you think off the back of that he might get game time minutes on Saturday, be it from a start or from the bench?
Well, first 2 games he wasn't even on the bench, so it's very strange, and I'm just hoping that probably he's done enough to make Liam Manning go, it might be worth a shot on the bench. But who knows, mate? Who knows? I mean, we've lost a few players already. We've lost McEachran. We lost Griggy. He got injured first game of the season. Also, obviously, we've got Mo Issa on long-term injury. He's done his knee. Daniel Harvey's out as well. He's got a long-term injury coming off the back of last year. So we haven't, unfortunately, got that first team experience. When a lot of them ran out against Cambridge United, it was probably the biggest game in their careers so far, a lot of them,
Yeah.
I mean, that says something,
Absolutely.
You go at the Abbey Stadium and that's the biggest game of your career, so.
A player you have brought in, and I'm going to hope you're going to tell me he's either suspended, injured, or ill, is Bradley Johnson.
No, he's okay.
Oh, fuck's sake. I hate myself for admiring Bradley Johnson because of his Norwich connections, but he's a really tenacious, gritty. I'd love him in my midfield, Bradley Johnson, and that hurts to say. How has he performed so far? Is he the Bradley Johnson I'm remembering smashing a thunder bastard past Bart at Carrow Road, or is he a shell of the man?
I mean, my knowledge of Bradley Johnson until he came to us is very vague. You'll probably know a lot more about him than I will. But you know, I mean, the guy's not a spring chicken anymore. But you know, he's got an head on him, and you know, sometimes you gain a yard with a little bit of knowledge and experience, don't you? So you know, I mean, look at Dean Lewton. You know, I mean,
what unbelievable career!
120 years old and still playing.
It was around the dinosaurs for Roman here. I'm absolutely sure of that.
Yeah.
You know, Lewton. You mentioned about gaining, you know, losing a yard, but gaining some mentality or reading the game. Richard Keogh, we just signed him. What are your thoughts on that one?
We can't believe that we got 250 grand for him when we sold him.
Really?
We couldn't believe it. I mean, you know, he'll do a job for you. He will do a job for you. But to me, he always had that injury worry. Yeah. He always seemed to pick up a little bit of a knock here and there. He was in and out of the team. He's got a mistake in him, mate. He's got a mistake in him. But not every game. But, I mean, we got punished bloody terribly sometimes for some of Keogh's mistakes, and he's looking around for somebody else to blame, you know.
As they always do.
Yeah, as they always do. But, you know, I don't know. I'm loath to say anything too much because sometimes these things come back and kick you up the arse. But, you know, probably play against... You
want to talk about him, Colin. You said remind me. I'm just reminding you. I'm just following what you tell me to do, mate.
Like I say, he's got a mistake in him. He'll do you well, but I mean, you know, he's never going to be your best sign of the season. I guarantee at some stage for the season, you'll be sitting here like tonight, and you'll be getting people writing. You'll be getting people writing things at the bottom of this page, and you know, slagging him off. I guarantee you.
Have you got Louis Barry, Colin?
Yeah.
How's he doing at your club at the moment?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. We've got Matt Dennis has had to replace Will Grigg at the moment, so we're basically you know, I mean, he hasn't had a lot of game time beyond him in the past. He's sort of been thrown into centre forward, and I'm quite pleased about him. You know, I mean, I haven't seen so much of Lou Barry, but Matt Dennis, and he came in. I actually thought we looked better against Sheffield Wednesday when Will Grigg had to go off and Matt Dennis came in. He's a bit of a bullish lad, you know. He not easily shook off the ball, and but yeah, Louis Barry, yeah, he's okay. I mean, we just need a little bit more time.
Carl Brooks says Louis Barry isn't good enough. He'd rather have Barry off EastEnders.
Yeah, good on him.
We're gonna do it anyway.
Come on, keep the hate coming. I love it.
Yeah, they feed off it. So tell me, Colin, before we let you go, and just immerse yourself in the hate, ready for the weekend. What is your score prediction going to be? How do you think it's going to go Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff at Portman Road?
Well, Fortress. So are you going to have a lot of people there? Because you got this thing in your head that if you have a lot of people, you always win, don't you?
No. The more people, the worse the result is generally how it goes.
Are you going to bring a lot of people at Stadium MK again? Because
we'll probably bring more than you. Yeah, probably bring more than you. Yeah,
that would be hard.
No, actually, on that point, Pete
Winkleman, only let us have 500 tickets. What's that all about?
You've only got 300 fans.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Yeah.
That doesn't really matter, does it? You know, you don't want to empty MK for the weekend. But Pete Winkleman recently said, if this club gets in the Championship, people will come and watch us. Is that? Do you subscribe to that?
No. He said that last time, mate. He said that last time. Sorry, no, I don't.
Fair enough. All right, score prediction.
It's the fastest growing city in the UK, and we are a city. We're a city now.
Yeah, you're full of roundabouts. I know that.
It's official. And you know, you knocking our attendances. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. We've had unusually for us, we've had over 1,000. I mean, I think we had 1,800 at Wickham, but I mean that's not only just down the road. But we've had over 1,000 at the last 6 away games. So I mean, for a club that ain't got any fans, that ain't bad.
No, you for this level, you're a decent sized football club. You are what you are, and you're punching above your weight. And I think you recognise that, yourselves.
We're the franchise.
They love it, don't they? They love it. They absolutely. I do like you, Colin. You are an absolute barrel of laughs. But what's your score going to be, Colin? Before I let you go and enjoy that Coke.
So it's not the real thing, I'm afraid. I'm going to go. I don't think we can win.
Good.
But if we improve with the same level as we did from Cambridge to Sheffield Wednesday, if we can improve by that amount again, I don't know. If we nick an early goal out of you, I can't see it, but if we do nick an early goal out of you, I think your fans might get on your back again. And they like doing that, don't they?
They can do. They can. All right.
Your worst critics.
Are you coming to the game?
Am I coming to the game? Of course I'm coming.
Well, come and see us. Come and see us at the Surreal Ramsey statue.
I've missed. Yeah, I know where you are. I've missed about 3 games in about the last 10 years, home and away. So I ain't done too bad.
There we go. Look, Colin, enjoy.
2-1. Anyway, 2-1 to you.
Okay, perfect.
It hurts me to say it.
I'll take it. I'll take it every day of the week.
Okay.
But an early goal would undo us. That is proving the case. Colin, I will see you Saturday, hopefully.
Yeah, you're at the Ralph Ramsey, yeah?
We certainly are. Come and say hello.
Okay. I won't wear this shirt.
You can wear what you like, mate.
No, I won't wear it. I'll wear me. By the way, before I go, have you looked at our kits this season?
Oh, they were in the press recently, weren't they? Because he was defending them, Pete Winkleman. He was saying, blame me for them.
Yeah.
What do you like them?
No.
What? It's a bit. Well, his reasoning, if I remember rightly, was it's a bit of a dirtier white because we are rough and ready and up for the challenge. Right? That's what he said.
Have you seen them?
I haven't seen them in person, but I've seen a picture of them.
Well, it looks like somebody serviced a car and they gone like that.
I thought they were. I'll try and get an image for the people at home so they can see it on the screen. But
I don't like them. But I mean, some people do. I mean, some of the younger kids do. I mean, obviously, I'm the wrong side of whatever now.
We're not cool anymore, are we? Let's be honest, Colin. We're not cool anymore. This is the shirt, right? This is the shirt coming up on the screen right now that we're talking about. Let me know what you think in the chat. There it is. But from memory, Pete Winkleman was normally it's virgin white at MK, but after a great year last year, we're rough, we're ready, up for the fight of promotion. So we've gone for a bit of a dirtier white. I think that's what he said from memory, Colin. You don't like these shirts?
It looks a lot different to that. I tell you, you want to be close up and personal to it.
It does look like you had an oil change on the way to the football match, doesn't it? It does. To be fair,
like I said, I know some people like it, but we're all entitled to our personal opinion. I don't like it. Yeah, I prefer the goalkeepers' tops, and I shall probably get one of those this year. The yellow or the blue, I don't know, but I mean, I haven't not bought a football shirt ever any season. No.
I really
pissed out of yours last year, didn't I?
You did. This is personally, I think, my favourite kit of yours. But
Oh, hang on, wrong side.
Wrong side.
Hey, I got something funny to tell you. Right?
Keep it PG.
We acquired in our fan bar upstairs. I mean, I know away fans aren't allowed in there, but you've never seen it. We got a fan bar upstairs called Lewitons, right?
Yep.
Up there we sell all programs from years gone by. We even sell some of some fringe clubs like Norwich and Luton and teams like that. And all. But we acquired over the years a lot of kit. Some of it match worn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all, like this. And we've been selling it to AFC fans.
Oh, you haven't?
Oh, yeah, they don't know.
I like it.
And we've been selling it for superb money. I mean, this is not mine. This is out of our collection, as you can see. It's this was one of the first games that Wimbledon played at MK, and it was signed by all the players of both sides. I'm only wearing it now just to take the piss, but I mean, I know you.
But it's a Wimbledon shirt, isn't it?
Yeah. It was when
I said that at the start of the show, Colin, when you came in, I got pelters from the chat thinking I was having a dig. I knew it was Wimbledon the moment I saw it. Look at that.
There you go. Look. It was when and you can see the centre MK. So it was one of the first. I think it was the first year. It was the away shirt, I believe, and it was signed on the first away game of the season. I can't remember what it was, but it was signed by both sides. We were going to sell it. It's worth in the region of about probably 500 quid. So, but we're not going to sell it. We're keeping that for as part of our history. We got a lot of history at MK.
Yeah, most of it not actually your own. Right.
Oh,
I love you.
That's
I
harsh.
love you, really. I'm
That's
joking.
harsh.
I'm joking. I've got a lot of love for MK and Wimbledon. I like both clubs. I really do.
Yeah.
I really. I watched the Football Manager series on MK Dons. No, that's how much I like you.
It was sad AFC got relegated, wasn't it?
Devastating. I'm sure you were really crying that night.
Mate, I don't know how I coped.
I'm sure you were. I'm sure
That
you
was
do.
when we went down there. I'm waffling again, and you know me. When we went down their place, that was the most. I've been going to football for 50 years. That was to show you how old I am. And it was the most surreal experience I've ever had in my life. It was unbelievable. Their fans were standing next to a fence that was 2 foot high, with the ball, right, with Dean Lewitton in front of them. And strangely, not one of these fans could get over that 2 foot fence to get to him.
Amazing.
Mate, it was just bizarre. Their fans were just like grabbing hold of the ball when it went off and walking down and not throwing it. And Lewitton was trying to get the ball for a throw in, and they were like tormenting and teasing him, and then they'd throw it at him and all the rest of it. And then when they walked back to their seat, they were being high-fived by the stewards.
I think there was the level of hatred between you two.
It's off the scale.
I obviously a 2 foot fence couldn't hold anybody back.
It's incredible. I don't know how that 2 foot fence kept them back.
I mean, you've got the old firm, you've got all those sort of real proper derbies. What they're missing, obviously, Colin, at those games is 2 foot fences, because that's obviously the answer to all crowd control issues.
Yeah. Obviously,
Colin,
mate.
we love you, and we absolutely love you again. Thank you for stopping by and talking MK Dons. We'll see you Saturday.
I'll come and see you, bud, and I'll bring Aidan with me as well. You know Aidan, he likes to
yes,
talk.
I remember it. Absolutely. Love you, Colin. Appreciate you so much. Mark, Mike D, what are you going to keep the bouncer there? If there's any trouble, you'll step in.
I kept quiet there because I know nothing about MK Dons. I'm old school. I know a lot more about Wimbledon.
Neither's Colin, mate. He don't know about MK Dons either.
At one stage, actually, Wimbledon tried to relocate to Dublin and become the Dublin Dons, and tried to get into the Scottish division that way. But it was vetoed down, and then they tried to come back in again to play in the Irish League, and that didn't work out either. Yeah, so MK Dons don't do anything from me.
There you go. Look, the more you know, the less you care. I'm joking with you, Mark. That's a great bit of knowledge. I didn't honestly. I didn't know that about them. George, welcome back. You couldn't handle the heat.
Yeah, I had to get some fresh air. But you didn't need Mark Wright for that, did you? That was
don't need anybody. Colin is a whirlwind.
Enjoyed listening to that. Sat on my step. Yeah.
He's great. He absolutely is. He's worth every single penny we didn't pay him to appear. So he's absolutely worth it every time. But you want to get some air conditioning in that little shed of yours, George. You've constructed the shed.
I need a window or something.
And then I tell you what, we sat here in November doing a show.
It's a work in progress.
You'll be saying it's too cold. You'll be saying it's far too cold in here. Jason, with so little fans, how do they keep that stadium running? I've just got a message from Colin. You're right. The Irish Dons, Mark. You're absolutely spot on the money there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
You're a little bit behind, so I do apologise, Mark, if I cut across you.
right.
We've got the team. George, you didn't do one because I know you were a last-minute standing, and we appreciate that from you. Mark, this is your lineup for the weekend. You've gone unchanged. I'm not going to bother asking you why you've gone unchanged because nobody last night just showed anything to suggest they should start.
Okay. I've gone unchanged because I think we should keep the team hasn't lost yet, so I think we should keep the momentum going. I do think they will score eventually. I do think Ladapo up front will score. And I don't think they will lose against MK Dons. Now I think we'll beat them. They've got a whole new team, whole new midfield. Twine, Parrott, Coventry all gone from last season, and I think we'll be okay against them on Saturday.
You do say that, but George, MK Dons currently sit with 0 points, no wins. Along comes Ipswich.
Yeah. After last night, it's tempting to fall back to that, isn't it? Yeah, I think we should be all right. But yeah, I agree. Actually, I don't think I would have changed the team, believe it or not. I think that's probably going to be what we go with. The only change that. No, actually, no. I'd keep it as it is.
Oh, go on.
No, well, I'm going to say that I still think Ball and Morsey are the central midfield pair that we'll see more of this season than any other. But as I said to you, and I gave him his due by putting him on now for today's show. Credit where credit's due. I thought Evans had a good game on Saturday. What I saw of it. So that's his set pieces are still absolute garbage, but. Thought he did all right. So I'd feel a bit shitty about suggesting that he should come out, but I still think our best central midfield pairing this season is going to be Ball and Morsey.
Yeah, obviously Morsey didn't play. Ball didn't play last night.
Just to make a point, again, harping back to the conversation we had on Saturday, Morsey really does need to sort his finishing out there, Keogh.
Well, I've seen Neil Mould score worldies. Doesn't make him, Andre Pirlo, does it? He's still changing light bulbs for a living. Like, he does need to sort his finishing out.
Yes. No, that was serendipitous timing, though. Just as we were having a conversation about.
That's happened to me twice this week, because last night I literally wanted the chair to just swallow me whole when Raheem Harper decided to play for Colchester United.
And everyone in your contacts list messaged you saying...
And the whole road turned around, and it was like the living, breathing Homer Simpson gif. I literally couldn't get into my chair anymore if I tried. I just wanted to just go home at that point, thinking, for fuck's sake, what have you done to me, Raheem? What have you done? But yeah, same Saturday. There we were, back and forth, and then he pops up with a deflected, and I'll say it's deflected so I see a better camera angle.
Deflected off of his boot.
Deflection. That was a weird one because nobody reacted. The nets were black. It was such a weird moment. Like it was. Is it a goal?
So used to him scoring like that. See plenty more of him.
How frustrating though. He's had four chances. 3 have been really clear cut. And the one he scores is from 20 yards out on our volley.
They'll come. The easier ones will come.
The easier one. This is it. This is the conversation, George. I don't think they will come. I don't think they will. You've either got ice. Yeah, Mark. You are a fan that's seen some great strikers over the years. Robbie Keane. You've got to have some ice cold in your veins, right? Daryl Murphy, of course. Yes, sorry, that's the second great Irish striker. You've got to have ice in your veins in front of goal, haven't you?
Oh yeah. But you have to have that magical touch. You have to want to. You have to want to put the ball in off your arse, off your elbow, anywhere. And our lads aren't even getting near the goal line.
That's closer to what I would say than you were, Gov. You were suggesting that he can't learn how to finish better, or because he's not a natural finisher. Where I was saying you're never too old to learn, and it doesn't matter what they're going off on when you're a midfielder. You get into the right positions, they'll start going in one way or another. And if he can also score worldies from 25 yards, then he'll do fine.
Yeah, take them all day long.
I was really surprised when you put Lee Evans on the thumbnail. Every week, I have this great joy of sitting and waiting to see which player pops up on the thumbnail, and I was absolutely gobsmacked when it was Lee Evans.
I got no personal issue with Lee Evans. I just
don't like him.
I want to see Lee Evans succeed at Ipswich Town as much as anyone. I just think that
He won't.
that he's too inconsistent. No, I think he's been too inconsistent, and I don't think he has been as good as I'd like him to have been in a central midfield pairing with Morsey. But he played well on Saturday, so all credit to him.
Absolutely.
There you go. You can earn your spot on our thumbnails. You just got to put in a shift.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I'm waiting for the Raheem Harper thumbnail. €20, David Bergin. Thank you, David. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We're back again on Friday at 8. Sorry, Mark?
He also mentioned Niall Quinn to know some great Irish strikers.
Yeah, there's been many Irish strikers. I just wanted to go with the joke of Robbie Keane and Robbie Keane. I also could have mentioned when you said about you've got to have the desire to score off any part of your body. I could have mentioned Thierry Henry playing for France, but I didn't. With
Again,
famous hands.
Once again, Richard Keogh kept the clean sheet. Richard Keogh kept the clean sheet against Italy. That's all I'll say.
There you go. Mike says the Mancini on the line, he feels confident. Right, score predictions then, please. Mark, your score for Saturday.
I think we'll beat them 2-1. I expect to hear on the radio on work, 1-0 MK Dons, and then we will score 2-1.
2-1 says 80. George?
I want to see out of the blocks 2-0 up at half time, finishing 3-1.
Love it. And you're going to be there in the same stand as I am this week.
I will indeed.
Good man. Looking forward to bringing some half-time. No, I'm not really going to bring some half-time content action. Don't worry.
You're going to say beer. So you're going to say you'll bring me a beer at half-time.
In the Cobble stand. You're lucky if you can get a tap water in the Cobble stand.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm going to be brutally honest. It's the greatest stand in English football, but it isn't the greatest for kiosk items. Jason, if Morsey hadn't missed that sitter in the first game, he'd be on 2. Get the Mancini warmed up. Lots and lots of positivity in the chat for the result. We're back on 8:30 Friday night. Myself and the Cruncher, possibly a third member as well if I can. Oh, hang on. There's a third member. It's you. Yes, it's you. I just remembered. I can't write that in my diary. Yes, it just suddenly hit me. I did ask somebody. So joining me will be just the George Nunn and the Cruncher to preview what Kieran McKenna said in his press conference tomorrow or Friday. Looking forward to that, Nunny. Seeing what we get closer to the big game. And thank you for jumping in, Mark. We appreciate you. We'll have to sort out your internet. You're a little bit behind, but thank you for coming to tonight's show.
I'm actually using a different computer tonight, so it's my problem. I apologise.
Hey, do not say sorry. There is a prediction league for Talking Town. It is now open. The link is in the description, in the chat. Matt Stannard is on the admin for that, so please do get involved. As I say, we're back on Friday. He's Mr. Nunn. Subscribe to the channel. He's Mr. Dowling. Like the show. Become a YouTube member and get active in the Discord chat. George loves it. Isn't that right, George?
Certainly do.
See? He's so excited. He had to leave the show halfway through because his phone was on red hot warm up. So don't miss out on the action. And we're back on Friday. Hang about. I've forgotten to do 2 things: a shirt draw and a ticket draw. This is why we do it on a Monday show, so you've got more time to recover. But we have got a draw coming up. I pressed that button, and then I saw the comment in the chat. Right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We have, first of all, our ticket draw for this Saturday's game to MK Dons. Bear with me just a minute while I load the wheel up. Here we go. Bish, bash, bosh. So going in to the draw for this week's tickets are, how many names have we got? We have got quite a few. 30 entrants I've got according to this chart. So here is the wheel. Let's get it on the screen. Here we go. Spin the wheel. winners of the tickets. There's only one winner. I'll bring George back in so I'm not so lonely. George, welcome back.
All right.
Eddie Smith is your winner. Eddie Smith, Mr. Moss. Eddie Smith is your winner for the Gov's at the wheel. Yeah, no, you don't want me at the wheel. Trust me. But yes, there's your winner, Eddie Smith, Mr. Moss. That's the name I've got on my wheel. I will now do the shirt giveaway. George, are you ready for the shirt giveaway?
Always.
Yes, £50 this shirt costs. Have you got one yet?
I have. I've got two. I've got one of each. Got my away kit today.
Have you won the Euro Millions?
No, I haven't got any money left now. What's the bloody fortune?
yeah, ain't that the truth? Right. I have got a grand total of, you have to wait for me. I might disappear because it's going to cause the computer to literally have a have an episode. Here we go. That's quite that. I mean, look at that for a wheel, George. There we go. I'm going to click it. Here we go.
Only goes one way.
2 shirts. Right. Okay. This time I can do 2 draws. I can't keep up with how many draws I need to do. More draws than Debenhams. Right. Ridwan Mohammed, you have won shirt number 1. Congratulations, Ridwan. Get in touch with the Talking Town official account and we will sort you out from there. Second shirt. By the way, George, do you own any Stone Island gear? Just because I've seen that bloke shack it. No? Oh, fair enough. Right, and the second winner is Funny Animal Clips 2. There you go. So we've had Eddie Smith winning the tickets for MK Dons. We've had Ridwan Mohammed winning shirt number 1 and Funny Animal Clips 2 winning shirt number 2. All 4,000 wasn't in the draw, George. I will just say that to you and live on the show. Because all 4,000 wasn't available to me. Only the names that were available to me were put into the draw. I can't do any more than that. I did put out a warning last week saying, make yourself public. But
I think you did more than enough between you to give away some cool shit this summer. So well done, everyone.
Well done, me. Thank you very much, Lewis Robertson. Thank you very much, Richard Moss. And thank you very much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. There we go. Eddie Smith, MK Dons tickets coming your way. Ridwan Mohammed and Funny Clips and Funny Animal Clips number 2. Congratulations. Now, this is the end of the show. You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down low and I get blue, I can't get enough. Oh, yes, you make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Oh, yes, I woke up all soaked in sweat, weird chills running down my neck. I felt went crazy from just the thought of you.